Hello, this is your captain speaking, and welcome to Life, the Universe, and Everything, your daily stream of consciousness resource. My name's Wonko.
I'm Iceman.
And I'm Matt.
Anyone got bones?
Uh, I've got 7.
I'll take them all.
And
There's
today we're
quite a
going to be
few,
talking
yes.
about Ebola and the Ebola crisis in Western
Yes.
Africa.
Well, it's also in the States now.
Yes, but... And I know it's been receiving a huge amount of media coverage, but one person confirmed so far in the States, over 3,000 dead in West Africa.
No, but it's
I know.
not only...
I know that the media coverage has been disproportional, but...
Well, that's with everything. That's with any world issue. If it regards the States, it's going to be amped up 100%. No, 300%.
Yeah, it's... I've got one that's just efficiency 4. Yay.
No one breaking.
No.
So, how long has Ebola,
First case, I
Couple
think,
months.
was in November last year, and it's been grew quite slowly at first, but it's been accelerating, and the international support for the issue has actually been quite poor.
I know that. Didn't
The-
the UN just recently start going in, or how long has it even been trying to do stuff?
I don't know. I know that the NGO Doctors Without Borders which the largest medical NGO in the world, has publicly criticised Western countries for their lack of support, which is really strange because if it was a tsunami or an earthquake or something, the support would probably have been instantaneous. But this is a case in which, their own citizens and their own countries could potentially, in time, be at risk, and the longer they leave it, the harder it's going to be to deal with it.
Well, I mean, I think one reason why you get a lot of the lack of attention is because people don't want to acknowledge that something that can really essentially wipe out a lot of population's basis if it spreads enough is maybe it could spread. And I think a lot of people don't want to go and assist because you get people wondering when they come back, are they going to bring it? Even if they do cure it there or help cure it or something like to lessen the effects, does it come back?
Hopefully, though, and I know this is a terrible thing to say but hopefully the fact that the case in the US that's spread there will be a wake-up call to everyone else in the world that this is a serious issue, and yes, even you are vulnerable.
Yeah, but of course that's going to be a problem where once it hits your home nation, you're all of a sudden going to care. That is going to be something that happens. And I guarantee you now you'll see more worrying and more rallying behind the cause. But I don't know if that's really the right way to go about it. I don't think it is the right way to go about gaining support is just because you have all of a sudden that in the States.
Yes. I mean, countries have been taking actions. Canada did work on developing an experimental vaccine. But first of all, they only created 1,000 doses of it because that's all they could create. B, it's an experimental vaccine. First of all, you need to get it there, and it needs a refrigerated environment and needs to be kept very safe and very good conditions. Second of all, you need such an organized distribution system at the other end to be able to tell people not only is this medicine and it has to be applied in exactly this way at exactly these times, but also that it's experimental, that we don't know if it's going to work, and it could very well have adverse side effects that we don't know about, and you need people to be able to make informed decisions, so it's just problems all round.
You have to admit, though, it's nicer to know that at least there's something that may be contributing to the cure as opposed to nothing can be found, there's no hope. 1,000 doses of hope or nothing, essentially. That's what it is. Essentially, experimental vaccines, even though people will like be skeptics about it, there's always that fact that that is inspiring them to keep trying and look.
Well,
And what?
no, go on, go on.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say it is experimental vaccine, but they have tried it. I've read a couple articles on it. They've tried it, and there's been both success and failure. So I guess it kind of depends on what's going on, but they have had it so that people have had the vaccine, and it has worked for some people. But also the other case is it has not worked for some people, and actually quite tragically. So I guess, yes, we have a vaccine with hope, but I'm not sure.
Tragically, as in not working, or with adverse side effects?
Like death type stuff.
Right.
So I guess it's kind of like the choice of the people. Well, do you want to take it and have the chance of dying, or do you want to wait and hope that a better one comes out? Which I don't know. I guess it's a tough decision because you really can't know what's the best decision. But I guess it depends on what your state is. You might be kind of forced to take it. But at least it does give that option or that opportunity for some hope, which I think is good.
It doesn't help, though, the lack of infrastructure or distribution systems on the other end, and even the lack of built-up areas. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, a party of, I don't know, about half a dozen people in it was killed by a bunch of villagers, right? Quite horribly as well, because they believed that the medical people were the ones spreading the disease, and they were there with evil, malicious intent. So, honestly, anyone who's risking their life to help out there, and they are risking their life in a massive way,
Oh yeah.
is just totally incredible. There's most disaster relief areas. Yes, there was an earthquake a while ago, and yes, there's definitely risk, and there's some civil unrest, but you're not in a colossal amount of danger, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
In the case of Ebola, anyone who's out there working is really someone to be admired, I think.
Yeah, because if I was to think about, like, in my point of view, like, it's a huge risk. Like, it's not just like a disease that you have a medication back at home for. Like, to go out there, you need to honestly say, okay, well, I'm going to literally risk my entire life just to try to do this.
To save some people who...
And they might not even save them. Like,
to try it and not even save usually, but help some people who probably, are so scared and so misinformed, they present as much a danger to my life as the Ebola does, who will not thank you and who will not be careful all the way. I'm at a bit of a loss for words here, but
it's a tough situation. It's like we should give more support, but there's always that case of, well, how helpful is that support, and how productive is it actually going to be? But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, suggestions have been made to potentially use militaries in order to establish order, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is Sierra Leone we're talking about, and as well as other countries. And wars and various skirmishes and civil unrest have been going on in countries in that region for years. So how much is it going to cost? What's the potential loss of life? There's no real good way out of a situation like that.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily going to work. But yeah, issues.
Yeah, it's pretty... I honestly don't have anything to say other than restating how dreadful the situation is and how underrepresented it's been by the media. I mean, it's people who are risking their lives and in a very major way alone deserve recognition, if not the people who are actually dying as a result of this issue. And I'm, in a way, glad that it's finally making headlines, even if it's because someone in the US has been infected. But obviously, that's a horrible thing to wish upon anyone.
You know, the thing is, though, I guess I'm not sure how much headlines it has or hasn't been making, but like I've seen this for a little while now as well. Like before, people in the U.S. has gotten it as well. Of course, once somebody in the U.S. got it, it got way more hype. But I have seen it a little bit. I guess definitely not as much, which is I guess kind of sad at the same time. But as you said, I am as glad as well that they're actually starting to get more headline because people will actually notice and what's actually going on, which I think has been something that's been lacking a little bit.
Well, one thing I can say is that while it is underplayed here in Canada, say, and the U.S. media, I went to Europe over the summer, and
Sorry, I hate to say this, but did you change some of your mic settings? Because I can
Yeah.
barely hear you.
It's really quiet.
oh really? How about now?
Can you try saying something?
Is it any better?
Yes.
Slightly, yeah.
Could you speak a bit louder? Sorry about this. But,
Is it better yet?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
much better,
I
thanks.
probably just quieted it down. One thing I can say is that I went to Europe over the summer, and the media coverage there, compared to here, in terms of like the Ebola, is huge. You were hearing it on every single station, majority of the day. They were talking about the Ebola crisis and everything, and how it's spreading, or not spreading, but how dangerous it could be if it spreads to Europe. And they even started implementing, as I was leaving, a lot of airport security measurements where they had you go through and they swabbed you and they did all this. You do
Wow.
get different support and different recognition depending how close it is, and I think that's why you don't see it a lot in the North American media, is because they're across an ocean. We don't care. Like, how is that going to affect us if that's across an ocean?
Probably a pretty fair assessment, unfortunately, to be honest.
And while I hate to say it, that though, like that's the reason why I hate that. I hate that that's our process in thinking about those things, but that's how it is. That's how the government thinks. Until it becomes a pertinent issue where it crosses those borders or the oceans or something, they don't care. It can be dealt with another, or it can be dealt with through another country until it reaches your borders. And that's what we're going to see America do probably now, and Canada. Because now that it's starting to come into North America, there will be action by these two countries to help try and find a cure, even though Canada has been already doing things, and I'm sure there's other, like, I'm sure America hasn't stayed completely silent because they knew it was a possibility. It could come to their country. They've been probably doing kind of hidden and hush-hush research about it.
This isn't to say that these countries have been doing nothing.
Oh, no,
but
no.
when the largest medical non-government organisation in the world condemns how little support it's been receiving, you could probably do something more. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Then again, all these countries are also dealing with other issues, such as ISIS, which we won't get into on this talk, but there are other issues that they also have to deal with at the same time, which in some cases it's almost like, well, this Ebola thing I think is probably, I'm not going to say more important, but is another issue that they should be thinking about.
Yes, especially, and the ironic thing is, the earlier you combat a disease that spreads to lots of people, the easier it is to solve the problem. I mean,
Definitely.
the fatality rate is currently at about 70%, and there's an estimated about 20,000 people infected, and that's really just a stab in the dark because there's so little infrastructure, there's no way to tell the numbers. But still, that's 14,000 people condemned basically to death.
Which is just awful to think about, but then where again the government's like, it's fine, it's not affecting us. How many of them are affecting us? Like how much? Because um, is it more common in children or adults or what? What's the?
I don't know very much at all about Ebola as a
Okay.
disease, only other than how deadly it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's more prone to affect adults, elderly. Of course, it probably is more prone to affect children and elderly just because of the immune system difference.
Weak immune
but,
systems.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I was just wondering.
I don't really have a whole lot more to say on this topic.
Yeah, neither. That's probably about it for me.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about it for a fairly long time, 17-ish minutes. Nearing. I mean,
Yeah, that's.
of course,
That's
we're
about-
not medical experts or anything, so it's hard for us to talk about
Yeah.
specifics
Yeah.
and all that, but it's more just about the coverage that we were talking about.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
such a downer episode today, but the
Yay.
problem with talking about world news is there's a lot of bad news than good news.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
See you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.